Well, hi everybody, my name is Robin Taylor. I'm with Action Shooting International, and I'm sitting here with Mark Polina, who's the Northwest Coordinator for Action Shooting International. We're here at Wade's East Side, which is the birthplace of ASI.
Genesis.
Yep, the Genesis. And we're here to talk about scoring. So scoring in ASI is what's called time and penalty scoring. So your time is recorded by a timer, which will give you a value based off of when you fired your last shot. As you shoot, the timer hears the sound, and the timer should be rolling over. Yep, there it is. So you get a time in seconds, plus whatever penalties you had on the target. Typical target will require 2 shots each. You can shoot more, but we're going to score the best 2 or the best 3. And they'll work as follows. So go ahead and pick that up.
Okay, so here's the typical target we shoot. It has basically 3 scoring zones. The center here and the center head here is 0 points. So this is what you ultimately want to shoot for. The immediate area right outside is down 1 second penalty. And the area outside that, it's down 3 seconds penalty. And then anything outside the target completely, it's 5 seconds penalty. And you have the other type target?
I do. Now, this is the one that Martin had up here. This is a typical IDPA target. You'll find those at many ranges. The other one you'll find very popularly is the USPSA or IPSC target. And we use a similar scheme for that. If your shots are in the center or in the head box, they're down what's called down 0, which is you have no seconds in penalties. If you're in the next zone, 1 second of penalties. The next zone is 3 seconds of penalties. If you look closely, it's not important, but this head box area is actually divided into 2 scoring zones. We ignore that and treat this as one large scoring zone in ASI. When you do scoring, often you're going to have marginal hits. And I brought this rather shot up target that we drug out of the range in order to explain how some of that works. If you're solidly in the middle, obviously that's a down 0. If you're solidly out of the down 0 in here, you're into a down 1 environment. That's easy, but what if I'm half and half? In our case, if you're on an edge, we count the larger value. In this case, it would be a 0. If it was the edge of the down 3, you would get a down 1 instead.
So you get the better value.
Oh yeah, we always give you the benefit of the doubt. If you look really closely up here at the top, this is a competitor was using a 22 long rifle, and you see this one here, this is a miss because it's outside in the non-scoring boundary. There's actually a very narrow boundary around the target. That way we don't have to hunt around and look for every little nail. But this one is outside the non-scoring boundary.
This one has marked out here.
Yeah.
If you're outside the black line, that's a miss.
Yep. Whereas this one out here is in the this one has just edged in far enough to hit the perforation, so it counts as a hit. So Martin, when you see people on the range shooting ASI matches, what's the main mistake that new shooters make when they're first trying to learn to shoot ASI?
Well, the first mistake they make is trying to go way too fast for their own good. And usually what that comes down to is a very fast time, but almost complete misses on the targets, which this really isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Another mistake is they'll come the match without proper idea how to reload and handle the firearms.
We expect
that.
So
And we expect that, but again, it comes down to trying to go fast. With your first time here, take it slow, take it smooth. Don't try to go out there and gun it. That's probably the #1 mistake people do. Another thing is people try to handle gun differently than they were told in a safety briefing. You know, they'll come up to the line, especially in indoor range, their gun will point it downwards, and the range officer asks them if you have any questions, and they'll turn around with the gun in hand, making
get stopped by the range
officer. Yeah, and they get stopped,
Yeah.
So those are probably the 2 biggest mistakes that I observed with the new shooters coming to the line.
The scoring system within ASI is set up in such a way to be very accuracy intensive. It doesn't look accuracy intensive, but for people that are coming from other sports that are more speed driven, they'll often try to go really fast and think they're doing okay until they start adding up their penalties. When you're a brand new shooter, 1 second or 3 seconds doesn't really make a big difference. But if you're trying to do well in the match, a 3-second penalty is a really big problem. And it's worth firing a couple of extra shots, assuming it's allowed in the stage, and usually it is, in order to make sure that you don't have any 1s and 3s if you can help it.
Yeah, I always suggest to new shooters when they show up at our matches is don't go fast, try to be accurate.
Yeah.
That's the thing I tell them. Try to have as least amount of points down as you can today.
Yeah.
The speed will come naturally as a secondary factor. if
Which
you
is
keep
not a
doing
big deal
that.
to us anyway. But we
Exactly.
just want you to have a good time and be
Yeah.
successful.
Be as accurate as you can. That's the main motto to a new shooter.